I'm Ode. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my god, that
That's
was
so
so
cheesy,
corny.
The You, Me,
Oh my
We
goodness.
podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the You, Me, We podcast. We apologize for the late episode. I'm Ode.
I'm Vicky.
And when I say late as in we're airing it a day late, right?
Yeah.
A day late? Yeah. That's assuming we get this up by, we will get this up by tonight, Friday. For those of you listening to us right now, shout out to everybody who checked out our last episode, which we do have some more clips we want to post from that one. I want to make a lot of you people feel guilty about what you do at night when you eat your slaughtered animals. I'm joking. Our last episode was featuring at Karma Free Fitness on Instagram and at Spreading Wisdom on Instagram. They talked to us about their vegan journey, and it was very entertaining. And since then, you and I have began our vegan. I'm lying.
Not really.
You did.
Today I switched the milk that we've been buying.
Oh, really?
So I bought cashew milk for Khalil,
Wealth.
and it's actually the same price as the milk that we buy him.
Just gonna floss your money in front of us?
It's actually the same price.
Did you go to Whole Foods?
No, I went to Target. They have plant-based milk there.
Oh, we can't buy ShopRite milk no more?
No.
Oh, okay. We too good for ShopRite milk. Yeah, people have one vegan episode, and all of a sudden, we too good for ShopRite milk. Okay.
So I bought him cashew milk, which was the same price as the milk that we usually buy him, and I bought myself a separate milk because I want to try it with my oatmeal.
What's the one that you got? That I'm not good enough for. Go ahead.
No, I meant like that milk is not for the baby.
Gotcha.
I think it was coconut milk. I don't know. I don't remember. I just know it's in the white bottle. It looks fancier.
Okay.
So I bought that milk for me for my oatmeal. It just They last longer. I mean, like
we get more bang for our buck.
we do because we're not milk people. We were only having milk because of the baby, and now that he's kind of like transitioning out of that.
Moving on to Pepsi, and I'm joking.
No, he just like in the mornings he doesn't need milk, or if he wants milk, he doesn't need a lot of milk. He just needs a little bit. And I measured that against the last gallon of milk that we bought. I had to throw half of it out because he didn't.
I was wondering where the milk went. So
it went
fast.
bad.
I got you.
It went
Okay,
bad.
you're right.
So this milk that I bought, it expires in January.
Okay. Oh, damn.
Yeah. So a lot of
Milk
these plant-based milk or nut-based milk, they last a lot longer. And of course, because I didn't take inventory, we have 2 legitimate gallons of almond milk in the fridge as well.
Nice. Okay.
So I just bought unnecessary amounts of milk.
Look at us beginning our vegan journey.
Yeah,
our
so I
healthier
figured
eating.
Healthier
journey.
eating, because I don't think, our healthier, more conscious choices.
Yes.
Yeah, slowly we'll make the transition.
Baby steps. I am proud of us. So for those of you watching on the video, you'll notice added some new stuff. You'll notice we have some new camera angles I've added. I'm trying to step our game up. Have some more stuff that we'll add in. More behind the scenes stuff that I'm adding in. Spent the last couple days kind of improving the studio for not just our podcast, but when I bring back the Make Party podcast and any other podcast that record here at the Make Party studio, which could be you, feel free to hit me up. But anyways, let's get right into our conversation so we can get this episode out tonight. Hot topic. Well, we kind of wanted to take from a hot topic that everybody discussion and have like a broader discussion.
Yeah, I guess. We didn't really have, I had ideas for this week's topics. And I think that we can just push those to the side. Let me jot it down before I forget.
And I hit you up and I was like, hey, want to talk about the fact that T.I. is all up in his daughter's business, quote unquote, business?
Well, prior to that, I had actually posted on Insta what are topics that people would want to discuss. And they also gave great topics. So we'll be jotting those down. One was so good, but I felt like it needed the...
Which one?
About when do you discuss finances with a significant other? So I felt like at that...
Grave.
So I felt like that one was great to have the input of all of you. So a lot of you gave your input as to when you think it's appropriate, which was a great conversation, and we can touch up on that another episode. But then you messaged me, and I was like, oh yeah, this takes precedent. Like, we have to talk about this because this is so layered.
Yeah.
And then the varying opinions of people. I mean, I'm you know what? I'm gonna keep it real. When I do the polls on I was gonna say the Instagram. When I do the polls, I know.
You on the
when
Facebook?
I do polls on Instagram, or whatever your response is, one, it's always confidential. Whether I know you or don't know you, whatever you say, there is a confidentiality. I'm not gonna lie. Some of y'all voted on this TI thing that I was like eyebrow raising. I was like, whoa.
So, although
only because it caught me off guard. Some of them caught me off guard. So that's why I was a little taken back by what they voted.
So to kind of summarize the conversation, even though I'm sure everyone's kind of
wait, hold on. I said confidentiality, meaning also zero judgment. I meant to say, like, when you respond or whatever, it's zero judgment, super confidential. But in that one TI thing, still confidential, slightly judging.
So like I said, everyone's most likely aware of the conversation. But to sum it up, T.I. mentioned on a podcast, I believe it was that when she was 16, he takes his daughter, I guess, yearly to her gynecologist.
Yeah.
And people felt like he was being a little invasive because he also, the main reason why he's taking her is to check that she still has her virginity intact.
Her hymen.
But, mainly to make...
Because that does not equal the same thing.
But that's what he was... I get it, but that's what he was kind of alluding to.
Yeah.
It was mainly
he's alluding
to check...
to the fact that...
To make sure that she's not having relations or holding hands too rigorously with anybody. Rigorously? I said that. Yep. Rigorous. Yep.
Yeah.
Made that work with a lisp.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Proud of me?
Yeah.
Is that almond milk? It helps my lisp.
You haven't been drinking?
So people have been coming at him, all kind of stuff. And it led to that broader conversation of, like, just parents and how, to what degree are you, like, in your kid's business?
Okay.
Right?
So can we start talking about this poll?
This poll? Go ahead.
Okay.
you just want to get at people right now.
No. Okay. So, full disclosure, I didn't listen to the whole clip. Listen, I'm coming from the perspective of what I'm going to generalize and assume that 90% of y'all are also coming from this perspective, which is you listen to this 10-second clip and that's it. First of all, I didn't even know that this was on another podcast.
Yeah, it was.
They took down the episode.
Which I'm mad they took it down and they apologized. I'm mad they did all that.
No, I'm not mad that they apologized, but I'm mad that they took it down. Cause I mean, it's like it's out already. Just leave it. Yeah. So I didn't become aware of like the minor details. However, I don't think that the minor details change exactly what was said. Like there's no like, you know how some things, like some clips go viral and you're like, yo, there is like a whole 5-minute conversation that leads up to that clip and nobody even paid attention. Like, I think this one, you don't need the context. It is exactly what it says.
Whatever they say he said it.
He said it and there's no context behind it. There's no, like, you don't need it. I'm sure there is, but what I'm saying is I don't think that you need it because it is what it is and it is what it is. He said what he said, and that's it.
Off topic, you know I like these camera angles? Because I like now that you're doing most of the talking right now, I could just put your camera on and just like sit back and dig my nose.
Yeah, I see you doing fancy things out here.
Wait till next week's episode. What?
Okay, so I'm going back and forth on the Instagram. So I posted a poll, and it was a clip from the Shade Room about the whole thing.
There's your first problem.
And it said, how do you feel about him checking on her virginity yearly? Because that was it. He goes to the gynecologist with his 18-year-old daughter. She was
16
at
the time. 16 at the time.
Okay, so for the last 3 years, because 16, 17, 18 is 3 years,
Quick math.
he's been going to the gynecologist to make sure that her hymen is in check, is intact, which will then confirm to him that she is still a virgin. And the options were,
Shout out
it
to
is
Atlanta Sexual Education.
absolutely necessary, or is that overkill? And 10% of you said it was necessary. And before anyone assumes, that was not just men. The 10% was mixed. The that's overkill was also mixed, but it was also primarily women. Which doesn't change. It was mixed. You have guys on both sides. So I don't want people to think like, oh, that's just men that vote like that, and it's just women that vote like that. Like, no, it was mixed, which is why I was saying I was taken back. And then the other one was, how much in the business do you plan on being as a parent? And I should have been a little more specific, but I meant because it followed that poll. So it was based off of that poll, how much in the business you plan on being as a parent, and the options were all in there or there's a limit. And 21% of you said you're all in there, and 79% said there's a limit. Again, it was both genders varied, so it didn't even matter. And that was that. I mean, it was shocking. And then I had posted the poll to get people to vote on the one with the Shade Rooms clip, and there were comments there. Do you want to jump right into some of the comments?
The comments that were in the
or the
comments that
in
we
the
got.
feed. No, in the comment on the post.
Yeah, go
on
ahead,
Instagram. So one said, that's creep shit. By the way, this is definitely going to be a rated R episode, because once we start talking technicalities, and I don't mean rated R like ooh ah. I mean it's just like, don't listen to this with like your kids.
No, maybe you should, going off with
not the way that I would want to communicate it.
Rated R when it comes to
Okay.
Vicky, because I am a child of God.
Yeah.
I will...
So one person responded, a creep. He's a father. The other one, someone else commented, I'm confused. Why was she at the gynecologist if she's a virgin? Someone else said, I don't even think it's legal for the gynecologist to share that information with the parents after a certain age, which is kind of true. One person pointed out that dudes get very overprotective when it's their kid, but missed the memo that the girls that they did dirty was someone else's daughter too. So they get nervous about that karma. Agreed.
Can we remember that comment? Because someone sent in a message that kind of touched on that whole thing. But just remind me of that comment right there. Yeah.
And another comment was, it's completely ignorant to even think that a hymen is the way to prove a girl is sexually active. 1 in every 1,000 girls are born with torn hymens, and hymens don't break. It stretches to make a larger opening. I don't know the specifications of how they function or what means tearing and what. So to that effect, I can't discuss that. I have no idea as a woman. I literally don't know. But one thing I can answer, which I did, was the question of, why is she even at the gynecologist if she's a virgin?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Because I saw somebody posted it, and I was like, I'm a guy, and even I know that. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
So
that comment was like,
Well, okay. So the reason why it made sense for her to be at the gynecologist,
at 16.
even if she wasn't sexually active, is because you go to see a gynecologist to make sure that your reproductive system is okay. So that's when that's why you get your pap smears and you get checked, and if you have any questions, you discuss it with your gynecologist, because then they will be able to inform you if what you're feeling or what you're going through is okay. And your reproductive system takes off when you begin your period, when a woman begins, or a young lady begins her period. So it's actually recommended that young girls go to the gynecologist starting somewhere in between the ages of 13 to 15, because technically your reproductive system has already started functioning as a reproductive system.
You smart.
So
Okay.
that's why she was there. Like, you don't go to the gyne. Like, if your first visit to a gynecologist is after you have had sex, you're late.
Bars.
So that's why it's and again, not taking away from anyone that considered that, because the truth is that in our communities, I know in my community, that whole conversation about gynecologists and sex and all that was off the table. You don't see a gynecologist unless you have sex. So, and even then, that's not something that your mom would grab your hand like, hey, let's go to the gynecologist. It was just, no, like, it's not going to happen. So that's why
That's not what happened with you?
Absolutely not. So I only know that because my gynecologist was like, you should have been here like 10 years ago. What are you even talking about?
Nah, never mind. I was going to ask, so how old were you at this visit?
No, that's none of your
business. If I
business.
do the math, minus 10.
That's none of your business.
Go ahead.
But pretty much.
It's none of my business.
That's none of your business. My first visit to the gynecologist.
No, go ahead.
So that's why I'm not taken aback by anyone asking that, because the truth is that that's not. I don't think that's a conversation. That's not out of the norm for people not to have those conversations growing up. Like, I don't expect people to know. Just like I didn't know, so why would I expect someone else to know? So yeah, that was that on those comments.
So let me ask you, what was your take on it?
Okay, my take is that. Oh, and I mean, we got messages too about like people's opinions on
it. And we're gonna play some of those messages that people's.
Well, those are voice notes, but I've also received like private notes via my personal Instagram and the podcast Instagram. So my take on that whole thing is that, one, is fucking weird. It's weird as hell.
Weird?
It's fucking weird.
Watch your mouth.
I'm not watching my mouth. Why? Like, yo, no, I don't care how cool me and my dad is. We're not going to a gynecologist.
Is it weird because it's her dad or
mind your business?
Either parent?
Either
is it weird because it's her dad?
If her mom went with her, it would be a little more understanding because she has a vagina. So she can explain to her what to expect.
Who's to say some dads won't be in that position where they can?
Let me tell you something.
I know maybe T.I. can. We're assuming T.I. can.
If you have ever been... No. This is why I know that you don't know, because you're saying that.
Oh, my God.
If you have ever been to a gynecologist, if you have ever gotten a freaking pap smear...
How you know?
Because trust me, no man can walk you through that. It's not, no, the feeling of getting a freaking pap smear is like...
I'm not saying we can, but that whole aspect, that whole thing of like the father at least can't have the same like...
Okay, to me it's weird. I don't want my dad coming with me to the gynecologist. I feel like that's a very, very, very intimate, personal doctor. Come with me to my regular doctor. Come with me to my dentist, but don't come with me to my vagina doctor.
So
it's just
is it wrong for a parent? He's a parent. He has the same concern that the mom has. He has the same want to be involved in every way, want to know what's going on with his daughter.
Okay, my opinion is that there is a limit. There is a limit. Sex education is not don't have sex. Yo, for real? So like we're just gonna like here's my first thought as I'm trying to like limit all the words, all the curse words, all the F-bombs that I want to drop in between each word that I usually would say.
Watch your mouth.
So my question is, does he go this hard for her education? He be showing up to school with her to make sure she gets the proper education?
Sounds like the kind of dad that probably does. A dad that goes that far on. No, I'm just saying. I'm looking at it more as like just a dad. I'm not saying I'm looking at it as like T.I. I'm looking at a dad.
You asked me. No. You asked me my opinion on it.
Okay, I'm asking about
specifically
a dad. Okay,
T.I. and thing.
But I'm asking about a dad going to those lengths.
If a dad goes to those lengths, I want to know, is it just her vagina that you're concerned about, or are you going to those lengths for her education? Are you going to those lengths for her other interests? Are you going to those lengths for every aspect of her life, or are you just prioritizing her vagina because for some reason that is the golden ticket of instead of like her brain? So like if you're gonna go that hard on her hymen to make sure she's a virgin, I hope you're going equally as hard. Like literally sitting with her in class, making sure that she's getting the proper education, making sure that she's really understanding the material. So she's a young, well-educated, super smart young woman. I hope you're going that hard in that aspect too, because we have to stop telling girls that what matters is what's between their legs. Like that matters more than anything in the world. And the lengths that men would go for, like the justification of him doing this to me is absurd, because I don't see the equal importance and the equal stressing for her head, like for her brain, for her knowledge. I don't see it. So to me, I can't grasp it, because it's like you're too concerned about something that is trash and you're thinking like that's sex education. That is not sex education. That's just a fucking doctor visit. Sex education starts at home, and it's mainly here. When you're concerned down here, you're too late.
I think you saying that goes back to what you said about us only hearing 5 minutes of the conversation or whatever. So I'm assuming that he is that kind of dad that if he's going that hard with that thing, he probably goes just as hard with her education. Let's say we heard the rest of the episode and they asked him that, and he says the same thing. I go to every PTA meeting. I check every homework. I do homework with her. I make sure she rereads. You know, some of us, our parents had us read the Bible to them because they thought that was our literature, or whatever, education. Let's say he says all of that. We don't know. Let's say he is that kind of dad that is involved in every aspect. Now, is that so wrong? Because I'm also thinking now, going off of what you said, okay, so can a mom, so is it wrong for a mom to be as, why?
Yes.
My mom was involved in every kind of.
I'm not saying you are a bad, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be involved in your kid's life to those extents. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that there is a way to go about it. And that's not the way. That's not the way. Like
for you.
That's not, as a woman, that is not the way. I literally can't even imagine the impact as a woman this will have on her later in life. Will she have to run all her sexual activity through her dad? Or is she literally not allowed to ever have sex?
Until you out my house, you run all of it by me.
That's very hopeful. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Mm-hmm. That's a very and parents, I get it. Parents of daughters, I get it, because I'm not a parent of a daughter, but I was the daughter, and I'm telling
your dad probably should have been asking you, what you doing out in these streets?
But you know what? This is why I'm saying. I'm gonna take my daughter to get checked and whatever, cause whatever. That's dumb, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because first of all, vaginal intercourse is not the only way to have sex. Oh my God, some people just realize there's not one way to have sex. So like,
our listeners are loose booty. They know.
No, I'm sure, but it's like. So you're just concerned about, do you think that that's the only way? So like, what is that proving? That means nothing. In other countries, it is literally a social culture to go from the back. Okay? So I don't want to, that's so dumb. That's what I'm saying. This is so dumb. If you speak to your children and build a trust with them, then you can have the conversation. Like, what's going on? Are you like having sex? But you can't just be like, we're going to talk about sex right now. And your kids are going to be like, all right, yeah. I'll tell you everything. Like, no, this is something you have to build with your kids. You can't just demand it. What you're going to demand is lies. Let me tell you something. If my mom straight up sat me down and was like, are you having sex? Yes or no? I'd lie. I'd be like, no.
Is she wrong for asking?
No parent is wrong for asking. But you are absolutely delusional to think that your kids are going to tell you the truth if you have not built that trust with them. So instead of taking them to the gynecologist, you need to go learn how to build that trust with your kid. so that you can have the safe spaces. So your kid can feel that you are a safe person to have these discussions with, because that's what you want. You want your kid to have those discussions with you. I get it that it's weird. I get it that it's awkward. But you know what? At the end of the day, you have been there as a young adult. You have been there as a teenager. And looking back now, you would have wanted to get your advice, your sex advice, from someone that you can trust, who's not going to steer you the wrong way, than to get it from random ass people.
Did we ever hear
with secondhand knowledge? Like, you don't want that for your kid. You don't want that for your kid.
Did
we know better, so we do better.
Did we ever hear whether or not, like, from his daughter? I don't know. I didn't follow that far.
I don't know if she has said anything.
Because I always wondered. I felt like a lot of people had that view of, like, that you just mentioned, but I always wondered, maybe that's their relationship. That's their relationship.
And you know what? There has to be some form of understanding between them, because I can't imagine. There has to be something where maybe they are that comfortable. But my thing, and now I'm moving into the general space. Mm-hmm. The people that are okay about this, because I don't know what their specific relationship, I don't know what T.I.'s specific relationship is with his daughter, but the people that are okay about this, do you have that trust with your kid? Because I'm thinking, if you're taking them to the gynecologist to get their hymen checked, I'm thinking that's a no. Because if your kid tells you that they're not having sex, and then you're like, all right, let's go to the doctor. Like, you spent all these years building their trust, and then you say, I'm going to take you to the doctor to make sure that you're telling me the truth. Bam. Everything you just built, that trust went to shit. And the next time you have the conversation, what is your kid going to tell you? No, I swear, I've never done oral sex. How you going to check that, bitch?
Let me ask you a question. Let's say T.I.'s math and science was right? And there is a way for you to know whether or not your kid is or has done ABC, right? Or every, that was the doorbell, or every form of, sexual intercourse or whatever. There is a way for you to know.
I don't want to know.
What?
I don't want to know. Listen,
man.
Would you want your mom to know? Exactly.
No.
So
I get that. I get that.
I don't want to know, because at the end of the day,
of course we don't want our parents to know, but we want to know for our kids.
I don't want to know for my kid.
We're hypocrites.
I don't want to know for my kid, because I want my kid to also have the freedom to feel safe, to want to do certain things. I don't want that. I don't want to know that.
Okay, go back to what you said.
Unless I have that relationship. Listen, I know one of my friends, her mom and her sister, they had that relationship.
And they probably turned out to be great children.
It was all out. The conversation, it was literally all out. And that was beautiful for them. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm saying, I don't want to know that. But if my kid brings it to me because they feel so comfortable telling me, I'm obviously not going to turn the conversation. Like, I'm not going to be like, I don't want to hear about that shit. That's still my kid. I want to help them become the best version of themselves that they want to be, that I feel that they can be. But I'm not here to police their genitals. Like, I'm not. Like, once if they can decide what they want to do, I hope that I have built such a trust with my child that they will come to me and say, I think I'm ready to have sex. Or I had sex and this is what happened. I don't know what to do. I hope that I build that safe space for my kid. Is it going to be hard for me to hear? Yes, I'm freaking human. Absolutely. But it will also be calming to know that my kid trusts me so much that they would come to me and tell me. There are things that, like, I wish that I had heard from my mom. Like, my friends.
But you just said you would lie to your mom if she ever approached you.
Because we didn't have that trust.
But let's say she approached.
We didn't have that.
But let's say she approached you right. You probably still would have lied. Right?
If we had that relationship, I didn't have that with my mom, to the point that I can't picture me possibly having that with my mom. I do know of people who have that relationship with their mom. Their mom asked them and they told them the truth. Mm-hmm. So I know people that have told their parents the truth when the parent asked them, like, tell me the truth. Have you had sex? And they were like, it was fucking awkward, but I'm not going to lie to my mom. And they told them. I was shocked that they told their mom because I'm like, bitch, you know, like, I know your mom. But, you know, like, they had that relationship. I didn't have that relationship with my mom. I'm hoping that I have that relationship with my children. If we have more than one kid, I hope that I have that with my kid. But there are, like, sex education, it's really up in here. Like, it's not down there, which is why I think it's just comical for anyone thinking that, like, he's justified in that. Like, he's not justified in that. That's not sex education.
I think he's justified in...
He can be justified in his curiosity and his concern.
Yeah. Maybe the way he went about it, I get why some people... Weird. I get why some people are like, yo, this is weird, whatever. I'm not saying it's weird because, yo, if it works for him and his daughter, who am I? That's their relationship. That's their dynamic. I'm not going to judge it. So I won't even say it's weird or it's wrong.
It's weird for me.
It's not him. It's not me. It's not me and my son, me and my daughter, whatever. So I am not even going to put a label on it. Let's pull up. So we had some people call in, and they gave us their input on the conversation. So we're going to play some of them.
Do you want me to read the comments, or are you going to play that?
I'll throw one in there because I know there's one that touches on some of the things we mentioned.
As the old saying goes back home, every captain run their ship differently. I do not see myself being a parent that will actually go into the gynecologist's office with my daughter to find out if she is still a virgin. I do believe in open lines of communication, period. We should be able to talk to each other about any and everything. I've always expressed to my children the importance of carrying yourself correctly when it comes to sex. Not only pregnancy, the diseases, the emotional connection, the physical connection. A lot of baggage goes along with having sex and intimacy. However, that's between those two people. As a parent, I'm not getting involved to such an extent to find myself in the office to see if she is still a virgin. If she or he can't communicate with me and let me know that they are not a virgin, then I say something might be wrong on both parts. I've always been open with my children. Condoms bought, discipline, actions spoken of, the whole nine. I hope that all parents and children can have the same type of communication. I know it's hard, but at least make an effort for it.
And that was actually my cousin Romaine, and I think she touched on a lot of things that we just mentioned, and especially that whole thing you said about it's more than just getting that physical checkup to find out whether or not he or she is still a virgin. It is, I guess, the sexual education. It's mental. It's addressing the emotional, the physical, and all the other aspects. So that's why I appreciated her saying that. And as you were talking, I was like, oh, that's exactly what she was saying. You found some of the comments that people sent in?
One person was like, it kills the idea of having a relationship with your daughter.
Kills it?
Taking her to the gynecologist to check her hymen, yeah. It kills the idea of having a relationship with your daughter in which she's open enough to talk to you about it. But they were like, but the way these little girls are coming nowadays and different social influences is not a bad thought.
Girls and boys, just to be fair.
There's no, you can't be. Well, this is specifically about girls because you can't get boys checked to see if they're virgins.
Just for the PC people who are complaining, yeah, you got to say boys and girls too. But
well, I don't have to because this was somebody's comment. Okay. So, but then they were like, imagine after so many visits and she's good and the following one she ain't. He's like, I'd rather not know and try to have a good relationship in which she will feel open to talk to me. And I had someone else said this is invasive, violating, and possessive. Which a lot of people had that a guy is like checking on a girl's.
I think if you're a parent, I don't know.
I go to those lengths.
I'm cool with.
Hold on. One person was like, the disturbing patriarchal behavior. I don't care if that's her father. In my opinion, he has no right to police her body. true. Is he going this hard to check if his sons are sexually active? He is not. That he actually has stated. I think like his son, who is about 5 years younger than his daughter, is not a virgin. So he would be like 13, 14, and he's not a virgin, and he's totally okay with it. Which he has, and T.I. has accepted that he knows that it's a double standard. He's like, I know it is, but whatever. If this sort of behavior becomes normalized, we graduate to what we are seeing now. Stern laws on abortion that don't take into consideration the woman's choice in the matter. Preach.
Listen, my whole thing is whether it's a mom and a son, a dad and a daughter, a dad and a son, a mom and a daughter, you have all right to be just as in. Definitely go about it the right way. Build a relationship. Build that trust. But mom, you can come with me as your son. You can come with me to every doctor visit when they do whatever test and all kind of stuff. And same for that. I am totally cool with it. You are a parent.
If I'm going to the gynecologist with my daughter, I'm not pushing myself up on her visit. Touching base on what somebody had mentioned, which was, I think in some states, they can't even share that information with the parents.
Yeah,
because
I saw that comment a lot.
Doctor-patient confidentiality. In some states, I believe the age is 16. After they're 16, they don't have to disclose information to you, whether you ask or not. And I believe in certain states, it's actually younger. It's actually from the moment they have that patient. So the patient could be 12. It doesn't matter. As long as the child's life is not in danger. If the child's life is in danger, then doctor-patient confidentiality ceases to exist, and therefore they then disclose the information to the parents. But it's not necessary. Like, they don't have to do it if they don't want to. But I wouldn't necessarily push myself on my child's visit to a reproductive doctor. I wouldn't push myself on it. This is supposed to be a doctor that they need to build a rapport with. They need to build a relationship with. This is someone that's vital to keeping my child safe, my child healthy. And I don't want to sour that experience. That's souring that experience of an important relationship in their life. It's souring. If my child says, I want to go to the gyno, I don't want to go by myself, I'm really scared, I will go with them. And if they want to talk to me about it, I just want to create, to me, it's more important to create a safe space than to create this awkward space where it's like, you're my kid. It's kind of like you're talking to them like they're your property, which is, I've heard people reference it. They're not your like, when you talk like that, you're talking as if you own them. They are your children, but you do not own them. They are your responsibility, but you don't own them. They are human people. They are living beings, and you don't own them. You are responsible for them, which is, I understand that you feel like, no, I need to completely take care of them 100%. But they are yours, but their being does not belong to you. It belongs to them. And you need to, like, for me, growing up under that stern hand, it is important to let them know that they are people within themselves by themselves. And so I rather nurture that than to bring the iron fist down and let them know, like, I make all the rules, I call all the shots. You don't make no moves without me in every area of their life. Like, in some areas, you have to fall back. If you really want a well-rounded human being, you need to let them, give them a leash to just walk away with. Sometimes they're going to the doctor. I'm not saying drop them off at a whorehouse. They're going to the doctor. Okay? They're there to get information.
Gotcha.
Let them exist in that space by themselves with their doctor. Let them take the lead on it. If they want to talk to you, they will. you can't force them. I've never heard of anyone that was forced into a conversation that participated and told everything to that person.
We had a couple listeners comment about that whole idea of your child is not your property.
Hi everyone, this is Lauren from the Bronx. I just want to say that I think this whole mess with T.I. really just stems from the system of patriarchy and the effed up notion that women are property, and somehow that property is less valuable if it isn't quote unquote pure. I think there's a lot of things that everyone can touch on, but I just wanted to state that children are not property. They are our responsibility, but they're not our property. And they aren't property because they are human beings, and human beings are not property. I understand that young people having sexual desires makes most parents feel extremely awkward, but it is a fact of life. It's just biology. This doesn't mean that a parent demands his results from the doctor, as T.I. put it, regarding the integrity of his daughter's hymen. First of all, those are not his results. They are hers. And second, it's from a test that should have never been performed. The hymen isn't even a reliable indicator of sexual activity. There was a study done, and 50% of sexually active teens don't even have a disrupted hymen. Not to mention that hymens can be disrupted by many things, including something as simple as a fall. In addition, sexual activity is not limited to just penetration by a penis. There are many sexual activities that people can be engaged in. So doing a hymen check on a young girl is not indicative of her sexual activity. And although I understand
So some of the things you mentioned. So I get it. And actually, he did mention some of those things. He mentioned, I guess the doctor kind of educated him a little bit about the hymen and different ways that the hymen can be, what was the word? Ruptured.
Yeah, ruptured, like broken. Man. I know.
Broken, ruptured. Yeah.
It can tear.
Destroyed,
it can be
demolished.
Torn. Yeah, it can be torn. By gymnastics, horseback riding.
I feel like that's the one I kept hearing people saying horseback riding.
Like because the constant slamming on the saddle.
Everyone just out here horseback riding?
No, it's because it's because of the constant slamming on the saddle. Like, it's impact.
Gotcha.
Or like people that play sports. Mm-hmm. Like if you play soccer and you get kicked.
Kind of like me falling on the Uncle L's, what do you call those? Security gate.
Yeah. That would totally that ruptured your hymen.
I feel like I ruptured my what's the word? my tailbone, coccyx.
Yeah.
Coccyx bone. That pain has been lingering.
Yeah.
Since then. I want to go to one more listener comment.
I don't believe that T.I. is unjustified or wrong in his decision to accompany his daughter to the doctor to make sure that everything is okay with his child. I notice a lot of people are stating these things such as people are not your property, women are not your property, and while this is all true, no one has ever mentioned anything within that article that she is the property of T.I. He has never even mentioned that she is his property. There's a big difference between being property and being someone's daughter. Your daughter is treated with love, care, and respect, and you want to preserve the life of your daughter by any means necessary. When you look at property, there is no life to preserve with regards to property. Therefore, once your property has ran its course and it no longer serves you, you relinquish your property to whomever or to the trash, and you purchase new property or you get new property. Our children and our people are not our property. They are our responsibility, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we maintain the life and the well-being of our family, all right, of our responsibilities. And a part of that, if it's ensuring that my daughter is not out here being taken advantage of and lied to by some clown, some mark-ass chump, then I think that is also a noble thing to make sure that you are that involved in your child's life. Because we in this society where people are way too lax when it comes to sexuality. Oh, you can express yourself sexually. You can do this. You can be with that. You can be whoever you want. Listen, this is about my daughter and ensuring that my daughter's safety is paramount, and to make sure that a clown like myself didn't get into my daughter's head and take advantage of her naivete and take advantage of her body subsequently. There's nothing wrong with what T.I.
I think it is, like you said, it is. Wait. Why you? Wait. That was so. Shout out to Lauren for her comment, and shout out to Chris. For those of you who know, familiar with the Make Party podcast, Chris is a friend to the show. He's down in Miami right now, blowing up as El Moreno. For those of you who are probably watching the show that he's on right now, he's doing his thing. But Vicky just made a face at Chris's comment. I think, in a way, in some of his comment, he was saying, "Why are you making them faces?" Some of what he was saying was along the lines or in line with what you were saying about the right way of doing it, or the right reason for being that involved. Right? Am I wrong? Some of what he was saying was in line with what you were saying of how to go about being involved, why you're being involved. It's not just because you want to be up in the business, but because there's, and kind of like what Romaine said, you want to make sure they're safe. You want to make sure they are well educated. But you made a face. Mm-hmm. Why?
Because
the patriarch. No.
Well, yeah.
Go.
Because that, if you feel like that is how you protect your daughter from these mark-ass, clown-ass dudes, you lost.
Like himself. He did say like himself.
Great. You lost. You are not protecting her. I'm telling you. If you think that protecting your daughter is by taking her to the gynecologist to get her hymen checked, to make sure that she's not letting anybody up in there, you are too late, my friend. Like the gyno told me, you should have been here 10 years ago. You're too late. You are too late. Because the only way that people run game is on people that don't know. And last I checked, I don't learn through my vagina. I learn up here. You need to be talking to me. You need to be teaching me, not getting me checked to make sure that I'm still in good standing. By the time you're dealing down there, you're late. You are so late. Who you feared was running game already ran game.
Really quick. Again, this is me just using an extreme example that probably doesn't even correlate, whatever. Mm-hmm. What if that one line you said about what was it? My vagina doesn't think for me. I think up here in my brain. A parent who doesn't believe in hitting your child comes to you with something similar. Not saying we believe in hitting our child. I'm just saying a parent who doesn't believe in hitting their child goes to a parent who does believe in disciplining.
And they say by the time you hit them, you're already late.
You're already late. I don't learn through here or here. I learn through here.
They have an argument though. It's a valid argument.
Okay.
Because by the time you hit them, and I've thought about that. I'm like, by the time you hit them, you're just reacting to their action.
But let's be honest, we learn some stuff.
You learn.
Hit.
So let me tell you. So with that same example, which I think, by the way, great example.
Oh, shout out to me.
The equivalence is that on that first visit, let's say you take me, right? Let's say my dad took me, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't had sex yet. He took me to the gynecologist. But you see, what happens is you just get that one time.
Okay.
Right?
What do you mean? That one time,
and now I know. Oh, he gonna try to bring me back here next year.
Okay.
So now I gotta get creative on how I can do what I want to do without getting caught, because I know I'm gonna be back here next year.
How do that
hymen is gonna get that hymen. I'm gonna make sure that hymen is intact. So see, now you're just teaching your kid how to be sneaky. So that's why I'm saying you're too late, my friend. You're too late. That is not how you protect your children. That is not how you protect your children. You protect your children by teaching them, by talking to them. Because I was mentioning this earlier. One thing that I wish, and I'm not saying that my mom knew or whatever. I'm just saying.
She knew.
No, not about me.
I don't know.
But I remember I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and she said, I've always been very careful about who I've had sex with. And that's because I've always looked at sex on a spiritual level.
Oh, look at her. Good. Look at God.
Which I thought was really cool. I've never considered that. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because like I said, I've never considered that. So I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, who you have sex with, again, this is how she sees it. I'm not saying that everyone should see it like that. But she was saying, who I have sex with, I see it as you're taking a part of their soul. And that soul is on you.
Vampire.
And you are never, like, you share that soul now.
Succubus, is that the word?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anything.
The words. Some words I only know in Spanish and some I only know in English.
El succubus.
But she was like, when you let someone enter that intimate space, right? Mm-hmm. Where your bodies are joining. She's like, you take on a part of their soul. And you just don't know what part you're taking. She's like, so I just always made sure that I knew this person for real, before I took a part of them with me. Because at that point, I have no control over what their soul will do to me. Like, how is it going to work on me? They were like, I have sex with them today, but their soul could stick around for years. And now I'm dealing with the nastiness of their soul and my soul. Like it's...
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Every time you meat eaters eat a piece of meat. No. Okay.
No. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're saying it jokingly, but they did touch on that. They were like, you're eating feelings.
Yeah, you're eating feelings. You're eating fear. You're eating the sadness that a mom is feeling. I remember
a
mom that was
saying
pulled
that.
away from her her child.
So she was saying that.
Go back to episode 51, and I'm going to make sure I post that clip because it made me think of that. And now this whole conversation makes me think of what at Karma Free Fitness was talking about, where we stop or we fail to acknowledge that these are living beings that such as ourselves. But anyways, I'm rambling. But I know I started saying it as a joke, but I was very serious about how that reminded me of what they were saying about eating these creatures that had feelings, went through certain things, and we're eating those things from them. And we are going to have meat tomorrow or something like that. But since having that episode, I've been thinking a lot about some of the stuff they said.
Yeah, so when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And so ever since she said that, it stuck with me. And this is what I mean by just continuously talk to your kids. Because I can't even imagine the impact that would have had on me if I had heard it before I even had sex.
Yeah.
Because then that would have just, the way it's sitting on my mind now, it probably would have sat on my mind then to last me forever. So you don't know exactly what's going to strike a chord with your kid, which is why I'm saying building that trust, constantly talking to them. And trust me, I'm not saying it's easy because that shit is awkward. That's awkward. You don't want to know that your kids are having sex. They could be 26 and you're like, no.
Please,
my innocent child.
You don't even want to know your parents are having sex and they're
right, right. But you know what? We have to get away from that. I was thinking about that, but we have to get away from that. We can't keep participating in willful ignorance.
Are you gonna call your mom
We know how
now?
we got here. We know how our kids got here.
Everything that you do, your mom or your dad be doing it too.
It's true though. Yeah. So we have to stop willfully being ignorant. We have to stop doing that because it's human. It's a human desire. And the more we run from the conversation,
Talking about God, right?
The more we run from the
exactly.
conversation, the more damage we do to our kids. Because we're literally just prepping them for the basics of life, except for that, even though we know it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so whether you're religious or not, temptation is there. So to like prepare your kid for everything else except for that and assume that they will be able to figure that shit out. Come on. They're teenagers. Why would you think they're going to figure it out? You need to hold their hand through that too. And perhaps talking to them will derail them from wanting to do that. Saying like, or like sharing like, yo, I there was this guy and it was horrible. And you should think about, it's not always beautiful. It's not what you see in movies. It's sometimes it could just be like the door that opens to worse things happening. And you're giving your kid something to think about.
One of our listeners brought up a part of the conversation that I didn't even like think about, or they brought up something that I didn't even consider. Shout out to my sister who called in and gave us her input, and also brought up a topic within this whole conversation, specifically with T.I., that I think some people are ignoring and probably should be talking about, because it relates to that relationship that a lot of us have, that you've mentioned, that other listeners have mentioned, building that relationship and that trust.
My question is, what happens when or if the doctor reports that her hymen has been broken? What does he do then? Is there a consequence? Is there some kind of incentive attached to her maintaining her virginity? What is he hoping to get out of this? This definitely has to affect trust between them. To each his own. I don't know T.I.'s music. All I know is he's a rapper.
You'll love it.
I can assume the type of lyrics that are in
Gospel.
his song.
Right here.
So when you go home, how do you then get your daughter to not be the young ladies that you rap about?
Damn.
And that last part is what I was referring to. Damn. So here is, you know what? Let me take it to another extreme. Let's say Uncle Luke has this same approach with his daughter, right? You know Uncle Luke, right? Two Alive Crew. Uncle Luke has the same approach, or who's somebody I could refer to that's more relevant, or not. No offense to Uncle Luke. I mean, more relevant right now in music. That has, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Subjective or offensive, whatever, content. Some rappers or whatever. Or
female rappers.
Okay, so Cardi B.
So Cardi Meg Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj.
Okay. So what if he was referring to is somebody like that who has certain, who puts out certain content, now trying to have this conversation about being responsible and being, and wanting to check up on their child to make sure that they're not doing anything crazy, but yet still you were just rapping about, I popped that thing on his mustache.
Yeah.
And I will never have a rap career. I'll pop that thing on his mustache.
But that's why having conversations with your kid is important. Let your kid call you out on that. Like, yo, but your songs, you objectify the shit out of women.
And then you look at your kid and say, you see this house you live in? My pop that thing on the mustache lyric is what got you that Gucci shirt you wearing.
Yeah,
Shut
but
your mouth.
that's what I'm saying. Conversations are so important. It's not doctor visits. Like, I'm telling you, by the time you get to the doctor, you are late. You are so late. It's whack. It's whack. If you take your daughter to the gynecologist and to check that if her hymen is intact and it was not, are you prepared for afterwards?
Like, what do you, like,
So,
she got to walk home now? Like, what do you do?
Like, what do you do?
What do you do?
Or you just...
You go, okay, now I know.
What, you're going to kick her out?
Or you go, now I know. Now, which again, it might be too late. Now I know, so now I want to have those educational conversations. I want to
if
be...
If that's how you go about it, best of luck. But I just don't see that I don't see that working out better than if you had went the reverse route. Talk to them and suggest, you want to go to a gynecologist? And leave it, do that. Be like, hey, I should have gone to a gynecologist when I was younger. I didn't know, but I know that you should. Do you want to go? And then talk to them. Be like, hey, I did want to ask you, or just put it out there. Like, I did want to ask you if you're having sex. If you don't feel comfortable telling me, okay. But I hope that one day you'll feel comfortable enough that you can just let me know. Instead of finding out, like, oh shit, your daughter's not a virgin because she's telling you she's pregnant.
What do you feel?
Like,
what was the responses that you got and the comments that you got and messages that you got? What was the male versus female kind of response? Or did any dads come at you out of left field where you were like, oh, I expected you to say the opposite?
No. I was more shocked by some women who said, like, nah, I don't give a damn. Hell yeah, that shit is necessary.
Really?
I think it's crazy because as a woman, we know better because we are women. We know better because we're women.
On this topic.
Just like I was saying in general. But
what?
That's what I was saying when we started off, that I was like, you assume you can't ever you can take your daughter, but you can never advise her on her first gynecological visit. Whoa. You can
Big
never
words.
You can never walk her through that. A woman can, because a woman has been there and she knows that feeling and she knows what's gonna happen, and she knows because she lived it. She's experienced it. You as a man, you will not be able to say that to her. You can say, hey, I watch YouTube videos and this is what happens, but you don't know the feeling, which is why I was saying you can take her all you want, but you don't know, which is why I think it's better that a woman goes, whether it's the mom, the aunt, older female cousin, older sister, doesn't matter. It's different when it's just like you can have 20 babies, right?
I mean, I could.
You could.
I probably do.
You don't.
Hey.
You have 20 kids. Could you ever explain to a woman what it is to give birth?
There've been times.
The feeling of giving birth.
There have been times when I've
how
had.
You felt when you were giving birth, or you saw your wife, breastfeed all her children. Could you ever explain to a woman the feeling of how your breasts feel, of the pain associated?
There have been times when I have eaten spicy foods.
You see what I'm saying? It's not the same. Like you
don't know how spicy it was.
It's not the same. Therefore, as far as a gynecological visit, I feel that
chill with the big words.
A
Bring
man.
It down. Just say gyno. Just say gyno, please.
A man going, a father taking his daughter, it's weird to me because obviously, immediately I think there are ulterior motives, which with T.I. there is. He's like, I want to make sure you're a virgin because for some reason I forget that there's 2 other ways to have sex. And
T.I. ain't forget.
And T.I. is definitely not forgetting because we're pretty sure that we can, of all the songs he has made, we can compile 2 albums worth of lists.
That shows that he knows.
That shows that he very well knows that there's 2 other ways to have sex.
But shout out, with this whole conversation, the one thing I appreciated about it, the whole conversation going on around the world or whatever, around the social media sphere, I appreciated some of the dads coming out of the woodworks to comment, whether it was ignorant comments or the ones that came with the mature and very, I'm pro being involved in your children's lives, but I understand the nuance of the conversation. I appreciated that. One such father, Sayer from the TOS podcast, he chimed in.
Yo, what's going on, beloved? It's your boy Sayer, the Wash God himself, for the season representative, all them AKAs that y'all may know from the Officially Street podcast. I get it. As a father with 3 girls himself and, one that is a teenager at this point, nobody wants to hear about, their kids is outside, sleeping around or whatever the case may be. So I get it. But to be trying to rule with an iron fist and controlling her life like that, especially a girl that, I think she's what, 18, 19 now. I think it's a bit much. Again, I understand the concern, but I feel as a father and as a parent, instead of trying to lock your child down, which down the line, who knows, she may grow to resent him for it, maybe instead of trying to lock it down, maybe he should just try educating her, making sure that even, okay, sure, we don't want our daughters out there having sex, sure, whatever, but it's a reality. It's life. So instead of just trying to lock it down, what I mean, talk to her about it. Make sure that she's protecting herself. You know what I mean? Make sure that try to preach like, all right, if you are, just make sure it's the right person. You know what I mean? Make sure it's who you want to be with. You know what I mean? Don't just give it up to anybody. Like shit like that. You know what I mean? Like the conversation.
Now, Sayer has like 10 kids, right? And
Smart man.
yeah, he got to be. He has 25 kids. But again, I appreciated just the dads commenting.
Yeah.
And
it's important. It's
yeah.
important that fathers take active roles in their daughters' lives.
Stay in your kids' lives.
Because, I mean, like, who else is going to protect them from them snark-ass, mark-ass, clown-ass?
Jeez, you got any more? My goodness. What?
Yeah,
what
I
is
do,
your
but
problem?
But it's true. I mean, who else is going to protect them if it's not their fathers? Their mothers could tell them their stories, but their fathers have heard much more.
And have done it.
They've lived
the
it.
mothers are the dads are the ones that the mothers are telling the stories about.
No, but I'm saying, like, think about it.
Some.
The mom can tell the perspective of herself the most, right? But the father can tell the perspective of himself and his friends. So that's the guy that you should.
So with that in mind, I'm going to be telling our daughter about all the Bible meetings me and my friends would go to and the scriptures that we would read, right?
And I'll tell her the stuff that's actually going to get her.
And then I'll tell
to
Kalel,
be able to like take down the losers in the path that she needs to not, like, literally, like, just smack them down and out of the way.
I will prep Kalel.
I'll prep Kalel too.
No, you stay away from him. I will prep Kalel.
Kalel will need preparation.
I will prep him for his Bible. Yeah, you're right. I will prep him for his Bible studies. Tell him which scriptures to read to keep those heathens away from him. But I want to thank everyone that chimed in, whether it was messages on social media or it was the voice notes that they sent in. Again, I mentioned for those watching the video, we got our new camera angle. So Vicky, say hi to our wide angle camera view. Turn around, say hi. Say hi to our. It's right there.
Where?
Right behind you. There's a camera right.
That one?
Yes, that one.
Oh, hi.
Say hi to it, and then Vicky got her own personal camera on her right now.
Where's that one? Oh,
your regular camera. And of course, and I got mine, and we're gonna be changing it up a little bit, adding.
So
some
that means
more
now
stuff.
I have to wear like better shirts and actually get dressed.
Have some respect for yourself.
So then let me explain my outfit. I just came from the gym,
my God.
and so that's why I look crazy as hell. But now I know always wear black, so that way they can't tell my
go.
back roll.
So
my back rolls.
You guys see we're stepping our game up. We figure we're 50 episodes in, 52 episodes in.
50
it's time for us to step it
We're
up.
gonna wear some para.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some para.
We got some new stuff coming.
I would like to get a baseball hat because I usually don't do my hair, so I need to put something on there.
We'll get a You Me We podcast baseball hat.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll even sell some merch. You guys can help fund the podcast because we do have to pay for all these. We got to pay for SoundCloud to host our podcast. We got to pay for all this new stuff we're buying for the studio and stuff to upgrade our show. But
actually, before we close out, can we? Do you have a problem with me this week?
Always.
Okay, so what's your thing? So, because I have one.
No, I don't have anything. Go ahead.
Wait, you don't have anything? You said always, but you don't have anything.
I'm sure always.
The lack of consistency.
Go ahead. What's yours?
Speaks
go.
for
go,
itself.
Go. What's yours?
Don't be rushing me.
Go.
Okay. Ode. I have a problem. And let me tell you, that's not...
You can stop right there because that's your life. You can stop right there. You have a problem. Go ahead.
And it's not just from today. It's from... you do this all the time.
I don't care. I don't care.
You do care. Okay.
Go.
So, Ode, my problem with you is how you always leave the door open when you go outside.
Okay.
Okay. Let me provide some context. I don't like bugs. Okay, our side door does not have a screen door. I put like a magnetic mesh that you can walk through.
Did you?
That can that kind of like deviates the bugs to like just land on that and not come in the house. It doesn't always work.
No. But did you put it up or did you just kind of?
I handed it. No. I put it up and then it had to be yanked down. And then I bought another one because I knew we were going to have a barbecue and I knew the door was going to remain open.
Mm-hmm.
So that one I asked you to put up and it did go up. And then I tugged it and like a few of the things holding it down came loose. And now it's just like floating in the air.
My story is different, but continue.
So when we don't have barbecues or anything like that, when Ode runs outside, and mind you, this is all year, so it can be hot, which I don't mind the heat. I don't mind the heat coming in. I hate that when the door is open because that means the bugs are coming in, and I can't fucking do flying things. I can't do flying critters. I can't. It literally like my mental capacity for it. It just puts me in the worst mood. And I run from them unless they're landing like somewhere near Kalel. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I have like all this braveness and I'm like after them. So anyways, they fly in the winter, in the colder months, you know, it's just cold air coming in. Ode will run outside, let's say to get something out of his car. Ode can't close the door. Ode leaves the door wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Like,
yep.
You're always leaving that door wide open. And
me.
I just can't understand. It literally, he can see his breath outside as he's breathing. And the door is wide open.
And?
Why did you keep doing that even though
Because I'm coming back inside.
But then you just opened the door.
Why do all the extra work?
Because then the cold air won't be coming into the house, making the boiler overwork. Because you'll have the door open, you'll forget, and then you'll just like keep going back and forth. And then now it's cold as hell in the house. And I'll be in the bedroom asking you like, yo, Ode, I know the door is open because I feel that shit.
It doesn't be that long.
No, it really is not that long. It really is not that long.
You're right. It's not.
No.
It's not that long. No. You said it.
You're right.
You're right.
No.
Thank you.
It really is that long.
To the you, me, we.
And that's why flies and shit be coming in the house, driving me crazy. And that's why in the winter we be freezing. Or you love to leave windows open. Yo, oh my God. Ode would be like, I want to air out the room. I don't know if this is a Guyanese thing or if it's like a Caribbean thing.
Every once
airing
in a while,
out the
open
room.
the window every once in a while.
Not in the winter, bro. What is your problem?
Okay, so I have.
We don't air out the room when it's 20 degrees outside, like, bro.
And with that said, I have my what grinds my gears when Vicky is just the biggest hypocrite. Because I remember like 3 nights ago, I was sleeping. I was like, yo, why is it so cold in here? 2 reasons.
Had the windows open.
Not only is the window open,
it wasn't.
Shut your mouth. The fan is on. And then Vicky will complain just in the same manner about this little door stopper kind of thing we have by the side door. And she'll always say, hey, when you open the door, you got to push it back. And like the next day, I'll come in through the front door, look at the side door, and that same thing will be just pushed to the side because Vicky pushed it. I'm like, yo, this hypocrite.
Wait. Let me just say we are in October, November.
Okay.
And where it's warm in the day and literally the middle of winter at night. So I had left the home. Ode was sleeping. I left the home. And when I came back, I realized that the bedroom window was open. But you must also be mistaken with the time that you're like, it's so cold in the house. I don't understand why it's so cold. And you literally had the kitchen door open. The kitchen window open, Kalel's door window open, and the bathroom window open. And then you're wondering why you're freezing in the house.
Well, now that Vicky has done her lies and propaganda,
I'm going to go eat some crab legs.
We want to thank you all for tuning into the You, Me, We podcast.